Immerse in the profound wisdom of the Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, ancient verses, revered as a pinnacle of devotion and spiritual awareness. Under the guidance of His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda, plunge into the infinite ocean of this revered scripture. Discover its hidden truths. Embrace its transformative power. Awaken to new realms of divine love and spiritual awareness. The depths are calling. The deeper you dive, the more treasures you'll discover. And now, Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Shandilya Bhakti Sutras. Presently, Sutra number 9 is being explained. The main theme of Shandilya Bhakti Sutra is to understand Atmarati. Atmarati means delighting in the self. The world has so many things around you. You can sit by the ocean and delight the ocean. Delight in the ocean. Look up to the sky and delight in the sky. You don't like that. Sit cozy in a room by fireside and delight with your puppies and delight with near and dear ones. But not a single delight keeps you satisfied. You delight for a while, but you move on. Everything is moving. You have set your mind certain things you have to attain to enhance your delight. And you are led by your own taste. People may say, no, you don't go after that, go after that. If you are very cultured, you say to them, thanks, but follow your own. Because there is a mysterious urge within your heart, led by your karma. Advices are to be followed, but only if they ring with your inner instinct, inner process. The Sanskrit word is called abhar. Every advice is a bhar, is a load. But it is an accepted load. And you say thanks. That is a different thing whether you are going to use it. Sometimes you will. So the basic point I'm leading you to understand is, in your world, the life that is very close to you, what is most important? Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. You may say, I'm so selfless, I always think of people who are suffering. What will happen if you die and there are still people there? Even while you are alive, can you really, thinking of the sufferings, can you really help them? The important point is really you don't. It's because it makes you feel better. When good sentiments enter your heart, it makes you feel better. Therefore, ultimately you are loving the self. As long as the self is dominated by your ego, then that love of self has become moha. It is a very painful process. How can you please the ego? ego-based love is shallow. It lacks depth. Therefore, even though you feel that you are loving something, you are not really loving. It is a monkey within you that is determining what you should love and what you should not. So, selfish love is not real love of the self. You are being deluded. Therefore, there comes a time you create a resolution within yourself. I am not going to go after this selfish love. And that you do so because you love the self. You shake off the self because you love the self. The first self is with little s. Then you begin to emerge out of the shell. Otherwise, you are shellfish. There are many impediments that do not enable you to experience the spontaneity of love that yourself has. A stream of love flows from your soul to God, and there is no other stream in the whole world. Everything is implied within it. The impediments are impurities of the mind, mala, vikshepa, various distractions, desires, vasanas, play of rajas and tamas. So keeping that in view, as you become increasingly desireless, that is, not desiring objects, increasingly detached from clouds, become more attached to the sky. That is the process of nishkamata. Desires are moving away, and love of God, prem, is blossoming. Clouds are moving away and the moon is shining. This is the central art of spiritual life. Once you have become fascinated by this project, then everyday life is a constant celebration of divine love. But first step, you need to remove shithilata. Shithil means collapse, lazy, as if paralyzed. If you are sleeping and there is a time to wake up, just set your mind, I will do puja at 4 o'clock. And you look around and there is 4 o'clock. Now close your eyes, just 5 minutes more. But that 5 minutes becomes 15 minutes. It becomes 50 minutes. That's called shithilata, kind of procrastination. Or another way of thinking, there's no rush. God is not running away of all things. So I may do my puja later, or I may miss it today and tomorrow I will double it. That shithilata has to be overcome. You need to awaken yourself again and again. A saintly person in village used to get up early in the morning. Chase, chase, chase. Bakri chari gau khet. Caution, caution. Wake up. Goats are eating away all your wonderful produce from the garden. Charam chet, chet. To wake up. To be awake, to be vigilant. That has many levels. Vigilance and physical level. It's breakfast time, wonderful breakfast is waiting for you. Even though you feel like lazying your body, the moment you smell it, you wake up. And then your mind goes off fascinated how to create better taste. That's again is a plane where it is sense plane. You're waking up to many possibilities in the realm of senses. Now, if you are a poet, you get inspired and wonderful poetry flows through your mind. You develop another type of joy. And so you begin to wake up to opportunities, situations that can inspire you, create high literature, wonderful poetry, magnanimous thoughts. You must realize that is no less than breakfast. The pleasures of the pleasures of the bhuva, and then swa. That's possible only when your mind enters to samadhi level. Then you realize your mind is not only just picking up transient objects of the world, but it has the sensitivity to feel the touch of God. Easily said, but his touch is not ordinary. Amazing inspiration that's experienced by sages and saints. And they were not big writers. In their experience, they just speak out few words. Aham vrikshasya reriva. Aham the cutter of the tree of the world process. Havu, havu, havu. Wonder, wonder, wonder. Ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannam. I am all the world of matter. Ahamannadam, ahamannam. I am the eater of the matter as well. Now, all that has come not by ordinary poetic art. It has come from a revelation. You develop the enjoyment of intuition that comes through a very high level within you. But even that level is transcended as you become one with God. And yet you go on flourishing in all the three levels. As long as you have good appetite, you go on enjoying food. As long as your mind is there, you go on dealing with people and helping them, inspiring them by your words and artistic way of speaking things. Tulsidas ji did the same thing. Portrayed life in every stage. Marriage ceremony, childbirth, all things that happen in the world. They're part of Rama's story. So Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, these three planes are expressions of the effulgence of the self. It is a self and its glory that is manifesting in all the three. And beyond all the three is the self. So, the more you taste, the deeper joy. That means more sattva enters in you. If more sattva there, you do not allow your mind to become shithil. Shithil means just paralyzed. You do not allow your mind to become vexed, burdened by anxiety, to sink in distress. While I'm saying these, you must realize I'm not considering these lightly. In spite of saying all that and knowing all that, there are times when people can't handle it. Challenge before every person is immense. Therefore, there comes the need for support. You come supported by satsang. Your daily sadhana supports you. And if you have gone on doing good deeds, then God mysteriously supports you. Of course, all support comes from God. Shithilata must be overcome by japa. physical aspect of Shitilta by pranayam, yoga exercises. A deeper level of Shitilta by satsanga. Go on looking into the treasure of scriptures and see how there are wonderful jewels that shine brighter and brighter. How to get to it. Be a good thief. For Ramakrishna, an aspirant is like a thief. He knows that in a room nearby there is a big treasure. Now he can't rest until he gets to it. It's a negative illustration, no encouraging the thievery. But the idea, the way the mind would experience intensity, that type of intensity should develop for attaining love of God. You are experiencing the love of God, but it is so refracted all during the day. Wherever you turn and you see light or reflections, you are experiencing the sun. But the sun has undergone terrible refractions. But your mind may develop a mathematical account. Let me enjoy beauty of light in Miami. Let me enjoy it in New York. Let me enjoy it in Alaska. Let me go into 1,000 places and see how much did I enjoy. Or let me go to the sun. Of course, it will give you a terrible idea. You will just get consumed. Mystically speaking, that's the divine self. Pure awareness. It will burn up all your karmas. Next point is nirasha. These are obstacles to be removed. Nirasha, developing despair. Some serious aspirants, having practiced a lot of sadhana, and then suddenly their mind gets overwhelmed with nirasha. What have I attained? This story of the author of Panchadashi, Vidyaranya. He performed intense japa, having done japa for so many thousand times. And in spite of having done japa for a long time, he didn't have any result. So he went to sleep in deep despair. During dream, he saw 7 heaps on fire, 7 heaps of garbage. And some voice telling him that 7 times you did your Purascharana. Purascharana is the whole calculation, japa, how many times to be done, thousands and thousands. And each time you have completed, it's called 1 Purascharana, 2 Purascharana. He did 7 Purascharanas. And look, each Purascharana has destroyed 1 mountain load of negative karma. The 7 Purascharanas have eliminated the load of all negative karmas. You have nothing but positive before you. The moral of this story is that not a single positive effort, especially in relation to japa, devotion, not a single utterance of divine name ever goes in vain. But it is not palpable, it doesn't seem to be vivid before your eyes. What did it do? Because human life is very complex. How much karmas are there from the past? You cannot determine it. With the help of satsanga, good association, and with developing an art of handling the gunas in a proper way implies that you should learn the art of a healthy sleep. Thereby you are handling tamas in a healthy way. Learn the art of taking advantage of rajas, the energy that you have that makes you run, jump, and be sprightly. Allow that energy to be used for helping people, doing good deeds, performing your duty sprightly, efficiently, all that. And allow your sattva to enable you to experience profounder levels of reality within your personality, to expand not only in the bhu plane but in bhuva, in swa, in the realm of mind, in the realm of intellect, and follow certain formulas in life. Each time a negative situation happens, repeat the mantra, even this will pass out. Another practical mantra is, moon shines brighter each time it emerges out of a dark cloud. So don't become absolutely frustrated. Rather, there is a subtle taste of positivity even in the worst situation of adversity. Because adversity is giving you bitter taste, but there is a subtle whisper. All this is going to end in very sweet taste. As clouds move away, the moon is going to shine brighter. Literally it doesn't, but the self doesn't have to shine brighter. It is all light. But to your perception, there is brighter and brighter, a process that is like continuous waxing of the moon. Next obstacle is called mandata. Your movement, you are moving well, you are doing your sadhana, but it is not accelerated movement. Your movement is slow. Your movement becomes accelerated when it's assisted by divine grace. Self-effort blended with grace. Your spiritual movement becomes highly accelerated. How quickly? Can't even imagine. Most negative personalities turn into great saints. And next, adhirata. Adhirata is being impatient. Patience is a great quality. So, while facing challenging situations, allow your mind to be patient. Positive wins. Yato dharmas tato jaya. Wherever there is dharma, there is victory. And therefore, do not place a limit to your patience. Shouldn't say to yourself, it's within this week I don't succeed in my meditation. I put the meditation into garbage. In chapter 1, part 2, sutra number 10, sa mukhyetar apekshittatvat. Bhakti is the primary means because all others depend upon it. Sandilya goes on reminding you it is all the means, karma, practice karma yoga, practice meditation, practice jnana yoga, all these are subsidiary. Primary movement is your atmarati that is already you have. How to allow it to become free of obstacles. removing the obstacles. Think of a piece of iron, and here is a big magnet. And iron is not sticking to the magnet. Easy to understand. There are some intervening obstacles. You don't blame the magnet, and there is no deficiency in the piece of iron. What is causing that obstacle is what is intervening between your soul and God. Your soul is drawn to God. There is amazing magnetic pull of God is there. But because mind has created its desires, it has created its restlessness, because your vasanas, subtle desires, are not sattvic. Many things are there. As you begin to eliminate those negative qualities, the love of God automatically emerges. It is not something that you have to train the soul. Oh, soul, good. God looks very good. Yes, like your mother. Who love him, don't love this world. All that you don't have to say. The soul loves the highest. It's innate. You can't avoid that. No, Raso Vaisaha, Atma within you is constantly after enjoying the taste of our Atmarati, love of God. Even the crudest of people do their deeds, negative deeds, backed up by love of self. Only their self is very limited, distorted. But somehow there is an illusion, this will please me. But as you begin to remove the impediments, therefore, the role of Karma Yoga, allowing yourself to do your duties in the spirit of worshipping God, do magnanimous deeds that allow your heart to be purified, allow the malas, the impurities of the mind to move away. Dhyana, allow the distractions of the mind to they subside. And thereby your vasanas undergo change. And jnana, allow your intellect to work. Intellect operates in two levels. Intellect collects various informations. This indirect knowledge. Shandilya is against indirect knowledge. Many people, having developed a lot of intellectual knowledge, have studied the scriptures. When two students of Vedanta meet, say, have you read the Panchadashi? I say, no. Oh, you haven't read anything. And I say, have you read Brahma Sutras? No, if you have not read those things, you have read nothing. So the whole understanding is the more you know, more enlightened you are. That's absolutely wrong. Real test of enlightenment is your intense joy, experience of love of God welling up within your own heart. Everything else is secondary. Automatically, if you blossom with divine love, the fragrance that you waft is beyond imagination. The fragrance of a flower is very limited. But the spiritual blossom, when it wafts fragrance, it continues for ages and ages. And the bees are countless souls that go on drawing from that flower. Such was Jesus, such was Buddha, such was Rama, Krishna, sages and saints. Such is you. Prakaranat cha. Now, a topic that comes in Chandogya Upanishad comes under discussion. The statement from the Upanishad is Sava esha evam pashyannevam manvana evam vijanan atmarati atmakrida atmamithun atmananda Sava esha swarat bhavati. He who sees thus describes the glory of the self. And within that context, the statement is, he who sees thus, understands thus, who delights in the self, sports in the self, communes with the self, enjoys bliss of Atman, and thus becomes Swarat, self-realized. Swarat literally means emperor of emperors. The self is the only ruler, absolute joy. The statement is interpreted by intellectual people that he who has studied the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, who has understood Brahman the way the Upanishad in the Vedantic aspect teaches, he becomes self-effulgent. Simple way of saying, intellectual knowledge will lead you to enlightenment. And it is a must. Shandilya's philosophy doesn't agree with it. Not only Shandilya, that's the basic philosophy of the Upanishads as well. It is not the knowledge, but it is Atmarati, your experiencing the love of the self, irrespective of whether you have learned the Upanishads or not. If your mind has become purified, simple, like the Gopi's mind, then your realization is not dependent on whether you have studied the Sanskrit and all the Upanishads, etc. And also it will not depend upon whether you have practiced a lot of meditation and have acquired a lot of psychic powers. You can transport yourself from here to another place, can become small, can become big. There are many psychic powers. Liberation doesn't depend upon that. Because all that can create in your mind terrible vanity. And vanity takes you away from enjoying the bliss of the self. Your love of the self becomes little. You begin to enjoy power, glory, fame. And these take you away from yourself. You are never at peace. Another illusion is going to be corrected, that knowledge will lead you to devotion. The knowledge is the means to bhakti. Rather, bhakti is the fruit of knowledge. That's wrong. As I have already explained, as intellectual knowledge advances, you are, if your heart is purified, and as you know about the self, know about God, God is the only reality, supremely blissful, that knowledge will aid you to develop devotion. But devotion is not the result of knowledge. Subtle point need to be understood. And Shandilya gives a very practical illustration. Drishtatvat cha. from observation also. The observation, you look at lives of young people. Your young daughter wants to be married. Parents sometimes help that process. They locate a young man and give the knowledge about the young man to the girl. He's a university student, he's very bright, and it is the knowledge that first awakens in the mind of the girl a sense of love, or the boy. But that knowledge does not create love. Love is something different. Knowledge only plays a part, intellectual knowledge. It is not the love. For that you have to think of something else. So therefore, focus your mind on developing love of God. And start recognizing the love of God through every form of love that comes to us. Through mother's love, it is God's love reaching to you. Through brother's love, all types of, even if you have pets around you and their love flow to you, they're coming from God. Likewise, when you love, you allow your love to do good deeds to others, inspire them, help them. You are thereby invoking God. The whole process is enjoyable. When love becomes involved, then you don't say how long, when, otherwise you dump it. The taste of divine love develops, you become Radha. Constant stream, your life flows towards God. Radha comes from Aradhana, the stream of invocation. Constantly you are invoking God. Your life flows. That was Radha, who loved Krishna. Because she had no other choice. Krishna was the only one. And with this we conclude Om Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.